Tonight, I can report to you that we've made much progress. 37 federal agencies are working together in a vigorous national effort. And by next year, our spending for drug law enforcement will have more than tripled from its 1981 levels. America has accomplished so much in these last few years, whether it's been rebuilding our economy or serving the cause of freedom in the world. What we've been able to achieve has been done with your help, with us working together as a nation united. Now, we need your support again. Drugs are menacing our society. They're threatening our values and undercutting our institutions. They're killing our children. From the beginning of our administration, we've taken strong steps to do something about this horror. Tonight, I can report to you that we've made much progress. 37 federal agencies are working together in a vigorous national effort. And by next year, our spending for drug law enforcement will have more than tripled from its 1981 levels. We have increased seizures of illegal drugs. Shortages of marijuana are now being reported. Last year alone, over 10,000 drug criminals were convicted, and nearly $250 million of their assets were seized by the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration. And in the most important area, individual use, we see progress. In 4 years, the number of high school seniors using marijuana on a daily basis has dropped from 1 in 14 to 1 in 20. The U.S. military has cut the use of illegal drugs among its personnel by 67% since 1980. These are a measure of our commitment and emerging signs that we can defeat this enemy. But we still have much to do. Tonight, I can report to you that we've made much progress. 37 federal agencies are working together in a vigorous national effort. And by next year, our spending for drug law enforcement will have more than tripled from its 1981 levels. Our spending for drug law enforcement will have more than tripled from its 1981 levels. Despite our best efforts, illegal cocaine is coming into our country at alarming levels, and 4 to 5 million people regularly use it. 500,000 Americans are hooked on heroin. 1 in 12 persons smokes marijuana regularly. Regular drug use is even higher among the age group 18 to 25, most likely just entering the workforce. Today, there's a new epidemic, smokable cocaine, otherwise known as crack. It is an explosively destructive and often lethal substance which is crushing its users. It is an uncontrolled fire. And drug abuse is not a so-called victimless crime. Everyone's safety is at stake when drugs and excessive alcohol are used by people on the highways or by those transporting our citizens or operating industrial equipment. Drug abuse costs you and your fellow Americans at least $60 billion a year.
A fight of this magnitude forces us to look at history. History has repeated itself. This is a replay of the first fight between Joe Louis and Max Schmeling. The same fate that American boxing handed to Joe Louis and so many other champs, they intended for Floyd, but he won. Joe Louis was handled and molded, all so mainstream Christian white America would accept him, but they rejected him anyway. They still exploited him and they still hated him. For what? Simply because he was a man of color. And they tried to do the same thing to Floyd. In 1996, they robbed him of a gold medal. And for the first 10 years, they tried to handle him and mold him just like Joe Louis. But they couldn't stop Floyd's dream. Floyd took control of his own destiny and has dominated. Floyd has done what no other African American athlete has ever been able to do. Control his own destiny. Not Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and even Tiger Woods. Everyone that has been previously named, all have been or are being exploited, but not Floyd Money Mayweather. His dominance is the blueprint for the solutions to Ferguson, for the solutions to Baltimore, for the solutions to Sanford, for the solutions to Staten Island. To my European Christian brothers, descendants of the 10 tribes of Europe, descendants of Rome, descendants of Greece, the Gentiles, sons of the Spirit, sons of the New Covenant, you were supposed to do much better. Just because of the name that you claim, you have forever ruined beyond repair the name of Christianity. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. You were supposed to hold yourself to a higher standard just because of your name. And even though you spiritually bankrupt the name of Christianity, I, Michael Emmanuel, the spokesperson for the Remnant Sons of God, I forgive you for gunning my brothers down in the street at the same rate that you hung our fathers from a tree. I forgive you for over 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, the prison industrialized complex, the war on drugs, and most of all, I forgive you for the blood that's on your hands for creating the most diabolical system of slavery that this planet has ever seen.
Freeway Ricky Ross is a street legend. He went from being a poor, illiterate, aspiring tennis star to one of the biggest drug dealers in Los Angeles history. After being part of an international drug ring and making up to $2 million a day, he's starting over from scratch and trying to build another empire, this time the legal way. 20 years of prison have turned this former kingpin into a fully literate activist who is trying to make a difference by keeping kids from following in his footsteps. Today, he sits down with RT to talk about his rise and fall and to discuss his connection to the CIA Contra controversy. Ricky Ross, thank you for joining us today. A lot of poor neighborhoods here in Los Angeles have suffered from gangs and drug abuse, and a lot of people blame you for that. Now, how do you think that you can help and rebuild these communities?
Well, I think I'm the perfect one for this job that needs to be done because, I mean, if you haven't lived this life, it's like an experiment. You know, my life has been an experiment. And had I not been through this experiment, then I wouldn't know what happened. You know, most people don't know what happened in South Central. They don't know how you get started selling drugs. They don't know how you get out of selling drugs. They don't know how you can go from being illiterate at 28 years old to being as literate as I am now. You know, basically, I do law work. You know, like I said, I'm filing my paperwork today in my lawsuit.
What do you think about the rapper Rick Ross taking on your persona?
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
He's never sold drugs. He's never been involved with any type of crime. You know, he was a college boy, played football, from what I understand, and he was a prison guard. You know, and you know, to be a prison guard, your record has to be spotless. You know, so he's definitely created a fraud, and you know, he's perpetrating a lie.
What role did the U.S. government play in bringing crack cocaine into LA's poor black neighborhoods?
The government needed this money to fight this war over in Nicaragua against the Sandinistas. Russia had gave the Sandinistas $100 million to fight with. Congress had cut off all the money from the Contras. So now the Sandinistas had an advantage. Reagan and Bush had made the Contras their pet peeve. They felt that if Russia took over Nicaragua, they would be too close to America. They would be in our backyard. I believe that they felt it was more valuable to sacrifice a particular sector of America and a race of people in America in order to save the whole country. So they let these guys open up pipelines. Danilo Blandon, Norman Nessis, and the rest of the crew that worked with the Nicaraguan connection. Because I knew about 10 or 15 different Nicaraguans that was all inside of this, you know, Contra organization that was selling drugs. They sanctioned it because they turned a blind eye. They knew that these guys were selling drugs, but they did absolutely nothing about it. I also believe that had they not let these guys sell drugs, it's possible that I would have never become a drug dealer.
What does that say about our government when they're looking the other way while a deadly substance is coming into our communities for the sake of fighting a communist regime in Central America?
Well, it says that our government will sacrifice its people to accomplish a goal. And this is not the first time that they've done that. We've known numerous times in our history where they have sacrificed, especially the black man.
In that case, it's tough to hear that the ends justify the means.
They felt that it was more valuable for them to keep Russia out of America, you know, and for America to keep its way of life.